Hey guys, so we've done everything from getting the program installed to placing notes and placing drum beats and placing multiple instruments into multiple tracks. Um, this is part 3 of the Basic FL Studio tutorials. So if you haven't done any of what I mentioned, I'd recommend watching parts 1 and 2, and I'll just put the annotations in the top right corner. Alright, so now we should open up our project from part 2. We will do that. And I'm going to introduce a new element here. So it should be that one. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to bring up what's called the mixer. And this is where we can do our little tweaks to the way the sound is processed and everything to get it to sound the way we want. So how we access it, we go to the button up here near the top and it brings up the mixer. You can drag it around just like any other window, and you can resize it by precisely going to the right or to the left and going like this. I like to have the mixer be really long so I can just see everything that's going on, because I sometimes end up using almost all these inserts. There are multiple reasons for having this many inserts. So now we have to send our channels to these inserts. So what we're going to do is we're going to click the first one, the baseline, and we're going to go to the top right corner of the channel settings and go to 1. And we're going to go to our keys and we're going to send that to 2. And be careful, because some instruments will automatically send to the first insert and other ones will send to, like, I think some of them will send to the next empty one or something. Not sure about that, but I know that a lot of them get sent to the first one, so just be careful of that. So we can send this one to 2, we can send this one to 3, we can send this one to 4, we can send this one to 5. Yeah, and by the way, I usually don't rename the channels in here because I like to see the names of their original names so I can see where their source is, because you can see here, this one's called GRV Kick 17, and from that I can determine that the sample that I'm using is GRV Kick 17.wave, so just that audio file here. That's why I don't rename these, but I rename the respective patterns to the names of the instruments, probably followed by wherever it is in the song format or whatever. I'll get to that later though. So now, if we play, yeah. So as you can hear, the hi-hat might be a little too loud or something. So what we can try is dragging the hi-hat down. And as you can hear, it's already more desirable to listen to with the hi-hat down. So what we're going to do now is we're going to rename these inserts to whatever was sent to them. So we can right click as always and rename the first one to the baseline because that's what we sent. We will click the second one and name that to piano. Click the third one, name that to kick. Click the fourth one, name that hi-hat. Click the fifth one and name it snare. Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick rundown of what these things do. So on each insert, right under it there will be this little semicircle, and we can control the panning with this. So if you have it like all the way to the left, maybe the piano, you can play. You can hear it's all the way on the left. I don't think we're going to want that. But to loosen up your mix, you can pan things a little bit to the left or right. Some people believe in panning everything 100% to the right or left. Sometimes I think that's cool, but I'm personally one who doesn't like to hear something only in one ear. I sort of like panning things out a little bit, but not excessively. That's just the way that I've learned this thing, so what we can do is we can pan the piano a little to the left, pan the hi-hat a little to the right, and the snare maybe a little to the right as well. So now if we play, Might be a little hard to hear, but it is a little loosened up. So now, to solo an insert, we can right click the little green button. So if we play, we're hearing just the bass, or if we right click piano. And to bring in other instruments back, we can left click to bring all those back. So and to answer a question, yes, on an export, if you solo a track and have it just be this, and then export an MP3 or a WAV or whatever, it'll export just the tracks that are active. It's pretty important. Another thing you can do, I usually don't do this, is you can solo the channels here, so it'll have a similar effect. So you can right click and then press solo. What I typically do is I just solo from the mixer. And I might as well just point this out right now. This to the right of the solo for the channel is the pan, and to the right of that is the gain. It's set to negative, like negative 5 dB or something by default. I usually don't touch these. I usually just leave them there. I set them to whatever I want, and I just forget about them. Because whatever these are set to, whatever processing you have on top of the source, a lot of the processing is based on gain, and it'll just affect how everything's processed. I will explain a lot more about that stuff later. I'm just trying to word it so that everyone can understand. So now, if you want to put an effect on something, you just go to the insert, and I'm thinking we might as well just put some chorus on this piano. So what you can do is go all the way to the right, click the first arrow right next to the 1, I guess, and we'll just throw fruity chorus on here. So now what we can do is we can solo the piano and hear what this is going to sound like. Might be a little excessive, but I'm just showing it for the purpose of this tutorial. So what we can do is play. And generally that little green circle means it's active, and if it's gray it means it's not, and if you see that anywhere, that's generally what it is. So now if we play it, yeah, so that's how to put an effect on. What you can do is put more things on, but one thing that I sort of stress is you shouldn't put on effects or processing unless if you know what they do. I know what the chorus does, and I felt like the piano could use a little bit of something because it was a little bit bland the way it was. If you put on an effect and you end up not liking it, then I'd say just take it off or whatever. What we should do here, I guess I'll show how to put on the reverb. So I usually use Fruity Reverb 2. You can find it through here. And we can do the same thing we did before. So you can definitely hear the reverb when you stop the track. So we can compare the before and after here. So as you can hear, those couple of things we did really improved what we had. I'm just trying to show my methodology for putting effects on. I sort of stress the before and after thing. You know, if you change something, you should solo out what you've changed most of the time and turn it on, turn it off, compare the two. And that's sort of my general basis for working with all the audio. And I guess that's all we need for the mixer for now. For the next tutorial, I think I'm gonna go through more of the effects and more of how all this works. Alright, I'll see you later.